¿Qué pasó, way? It's your homeboy Quetzalcoatl. Welcome back to the Fuck Your Life Boxing Show. On today's episode, I'm going to give you my prediction for the upcoming fight between Mikey Miguel Angel Garcia and Juan Manuel Lopez. If this is the first time that your bitch ass is watching one of my prediction videos, this is how they go down. First, I'm going to discuss each fighter. I'm going to give you their attributes as well as their weaknesses. And at the end, I tell you how I see the fight going down. We'll start off with Mikey Miguel Angel Garcia. Mikey Garcia is a fighter coming out of Oxnard, California. He's 25 years old in the prime of his career. Mikey Garcia was literally born into boxing, as his father was a longtime trainer of former world champion Fernando Vargas. Two of his brothers are trainers. One of those brothers, Robert Garcia, was recently named Trainer of the Year and is a former world champion himself. So basically, Mikey Garcia has been around boxing his entire life. As a professional fighter, he's amassed a record of 31 victories with no losses and 26 KOs. As you see with his KO ratio, Mikey Garcia has very good power, but he also displays a lot of patience. He doesn't just rely on that power. He's a good all-around boxer. Many fighters are great at one thing. They'll have one great attribute, but be very limited in other fields. Mikey Garcia is not a one-dimensional fighter. While he doesn't have an attribute that stands out as great, he's basically good at everything. He doesn't have any overt weaknesses. He has solid power, very good power, solid defense. He moves well in the ring. He can fight on the inside. He can outbox you on the outside. He can brawl. He can box. Has a good chin. So basically, I mean, he's almost got it all. It's just that he just doesn't have an attribute that just stands out as great. You know, such as the person that he's facing, Juan Manuel Lopez, who has great power. Mikey Garcia has very solid power, but I wouldn't say it's great. That display of patience that I was talking about, you saw that in his last fight versus Orlando Salido. This fight was also the biggest test that he's had in his career so far. It was for the WBO featherweight title, and Mikey Garcia passed that test with flying colors. He dropped Salido 4 times in that fight, including in the first round and the second round. And while he had Salido badly hurt in the beginning of that fight, he didn't just rush in and go for the knockout. He waited, and as Salido kept making mistakes, Garcia just kept capitalizing on those mistakes. He easily outboxed Salido up until the 8th round, where he received an accidental headbutt that ended up breaking his nose. The fight went to the scorecards, and Mikey Garcia won the WBO featherweight title. That fight answered a lot of questions that people had about Mikey Garcia. You know, people were wondering how he would do as he stepped up in competition. People wondered about his chin, you know, things of that nature. And he answered all of that. You know, he easily outboxed someone that just beat the shit out of Juan Manuel Lopez, you know, and beat him easily. While a lot of questions were answered, there were some questions that remain unanswered because of the way the fight ended. While this was a great victory for Mikey Garcia, the way the fight ended with the fight being stopped because of an accidental headbutt and Garcia having a broken nose. While it's very understandable, you know, if Mikey Garcia said he couldn't breathe, then hey, you know, only he really knows how he was feeling at that time. But you know, there have been other fighters who have fought on with far worse injuries. So it is still yet to be seen how Mikey Garcia will react when he's faced with adversity, if he's hurt in a future fight. You know, it's still yet to be seen how he's going to react to that. Now, I believe when that time comes, he's going to rise to the occasion, but it still is yet to be seen. Juan Manuel Lopez, on the other hand, he's 29 years old. He's coming out of Puerto Rico. He has a master record of 33 victories with 2 losses, and 30 of those victories coming by way of KO. Lopez is a southpaw with great power. But, as I said, Mikey Garcia is a good all-around boxer. While JuanMa Lopez has great power, he has a glass jaw and has limited boxing ability to go with that great power. He doesn't fight like most Puerto Rican boxers. Many Puerto Rican boxers, as you've seen throughout history, have been very good technical fighters. Lopez reminds me more of a traditional Mexican style fighter who just goes in there and brawls with you and just knocks you the fuck out. And for a long time, he was able to rely on that power, because that is the one attribute that he had. He had great power. But even before that, when he was in his prime, you saw that the glass chin was evident, as he was hurt in a lot of those fights. He was dropped in a couple of fights, like with Bernabe Concepcion. He was hurt really bad against Matagua. You know, all this happened prior to the knockouts to Orlando Salido. And so Lopez, while he had a great streak going, you saw that his chin was very suspect, and you wondered what would happen when he stepped up against a quality opponent who could handle his power. A lot of people say that JuanMa Lopez, lost his greatness versus Salido, but I think that JuanMa Lopez was a shot fighter before that fight. I think that JuanMa Lopez lost whatever made him special in the Matagua fight. If you haven't seen that fight, you can find that fight here on YouTube. Go back to that and check it out. I thought that Matagua won that fight. I felt like he was robbed. Lopez got a gift decision. Lopez was rocked on several occasions in that fight, particularly in the 12th round, where he was wobbly the entire fucking round. He was out of it. He was out on his feet. The ref could have stopped that fight at any point in the 12th round. But even without a stoppage, Matagua still won that fight on points. And he took a lot out of Lopez. And I don't think Lopez was the same fighter after that. There was an interview that he did in Spanish after that fight where you can hear him slurring his words. And you could tell he was just out of it. When he fought Salido, it was pretty much the end. Salido knocked him out twice. And those were great fights. A lot of ebb and flow, back and forth, huge punches being thrown. And JuanMa Lopez just wasn't able to stand up to what Salido had. Salido was able to take JuanMa Lopez's power, and that was something that Lopez was unaccustomed to. And once Salido started landing his punches, Lopez, having a glass jaw, he wasn't able to handle that, and he eventually broke down. In the second fight, he showed a lot of heart versus Salido, a lot of heart. But later in that fight, again, he ended up breaking down and he got knocked the fuck out. When he went down, that was like fucking whiplash. And he got up. Shit, he didn't know what the fuck was going on. If you didn't see that post-fight interview, he was trying to blame the shit on the ref. He was like, "Oh yeah, I know the ref. Shit, we go way back. Him and his people, they got gambling problems." And he just wasn't making any fucking sense. And, he's coming off of a victory right now in his last fight. But that was against a homeless guy. What's going to happen when he fights Mikey Garcia? You've seen fighters in the past that after bad knockouts, after bad losses, their chin isn't really the same. And I'm talking about fighters that once had great chins. An example is Fernando Vargas. Now, prior to the night of December 2nd in the year 2000, when Fernando Vargas was walking down a dark alley and he bumped into someone named Tito Trinidad, and Trinidad proceeded to rape and leave him for dead in that alley. Prior to that rape, there was a consensus that Fernando Vargas had one of the best chins in boxing. After that Trinidad fight, Vargas' chin was never the same. And whatever chin he had left, De La Hoya took it from him. After that, Vargas was just a shell of his former self. And I think that's what JuanMa Lopez is now. And JuanMa Lopez had a glass jaw to begin with. So now, I mean, he doesn't have shit. You know, I'm pretty sure that if you hurt his feelings, he'll probably get stunned now and shit. It'd be wobbly. But I mean, this is it's gonna be a tough fight for JuanMa Lopez. Both Garcia and Lopez have common opponents in Bernabé Concepcion and Orlando Salido. Both fighters stopped Bernabé Concepcion, but JuanMa Lopez had some problems. Even though he stopped him in the second round, he also got dropped in that fight. While Mikey Garcia took him a little bit longer to do it, but he handled him far easier than Lopez did. And of course, the other fighter, Salido, Mikey Garcia easily handled him, and JuanMa Lopez got his ass handed to him. I don't know, man. I think JuanMa Lopez is gonna get knocked out. I don't think he has anything left in him. You know, there's some fighters that you can see are gonna be more susceptible to having brain damage. You know, such like Brandon Rios, who takes a lot of shots. JuanMa Lopez is one of those fighters. He's taken a lot of punches. You know, he's only 29 years old, but he's taken a lot of damage to his body, and I think that he should probably retire before he gets any permanent damage. I'm pretty sure he's made a decent amount of money. If money isn't a problem for him, he should probably retire if he loses this fight, because it's not looking good for him. But you know, tell me your opinion. How do you see this fight going down? I think Mikey Garcia is gonna win. You know, either by decision or knockout. I really don't see JuanMa Lopez winning this fight at all. Of course, with that great power that he does have, you know, he always has a puncher's chance, but I don't see that happening. If you have any other questions, you know, just let me know, man. One subscriber in particular, you know, he sent me a private message and he was like, "Hey, man, I love the show, man, but I need to know, how did you come up with the name, the Fuck Your Life Boxing Show?" And so I replied to him and I was like, "You need to stay the fuck out of my business. That's what the fuck you need to do." And so if you have any questions, just, you know, go ahead and send them to me, and I'll reply, you know, just like that. So if you like this shit, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and this is your homeboy Quetzalcoatl signing the fuck on out.